Hey.
Hey, you. You're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right? Walked right into that Imperial ambush, same as us. And that thief over there.
There's a reason why this is one of the most iconic scenes in gaming history. So many people know this. From people who've played the game, to even people who haven't. And countless memes have been made because of it. When it comes to Skyrim, it's a cult favourite, but it isn't without its criticism. There are some people who just don't understand why this game is so popular and beloved by many. And I believe the very things that make this game average, or whatever word you want to use to bring this game down, also makes this game perfect. From criticisms of the combat, to the glitches, bugs, story, the main parts of the game, etc. If this was any other game, it'd be forgotten about. But Skyrim is different. Skyrim is special. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. This is the Skyrim Paradox. Okay, Skyrim, the original game, was released in 2011, 14 years ago. I'll say that again. 14 years ago. Unless there have been a few other editions, Skyrim Special Edition is the main one, since the original game released. The difference between the two is that Special Edition includes the 3 DLCs and is a remastered version of the game that came out in 2016, 5 years after. So we'll just refer to that edition of the game. This won't affect the video, just bear with me. These sticks are important. As you can see here, Skyrim is in the top 10 of the most sold games in video game history. Think about that for a moment. That's insane. For a game that's had bits of criticism more than probably the other games that were in the top 10 along with it. It sold over 60 million copies. I believe that refers to every edition of the game, because if it doesn't, it's like way more then. So, there are this many reviews on Steam. And this is a player chart of average players still playing the game. This is Steam alone. Bear in mind, there is Xbox and PlayStation as well. I don't know if it's on any other platforms. Anyway, so you get the idea. I mention these stats for a reason. To prove the game's relevance, success, and popularity. So you know I'm not fully talking nonsense. Or at least, I'm only half talking nonsense. Right, let's get into the more exciting parts of the video then. Firstly, the combat. Now, many have criticised the combat, from the people who don't like the game to even people do. There's criticisms being that it lacks innovation and it's repetitive. And I half agree with the criticism, especially when it comes to the melee combat. Sometimes, I personally felt that swinging a sword 50 million times at a bandit chief, the same motions, just wasn't very filling or satisfying. If you compare it to other games. So, I believe that's how critics of the game felt as well. People have always said that magic just wasn't in depth enough, and that there's no reason to use any other magic trees besides destruction and maybe restoration. I mean, I get that. You know, destruction obviously doing the most damage and all the other stuff isn't really needed to play through the game. So I understand that point of view. I mean, I'm not the biggest magic user in any game, but I appreciate people who do, and its involvement in games to bring a broader experience. I personally never really delved deep into magic, and that's something I'll do in the future. I do still play the game somehow from time to time. It still has me hooked somehow. But overall, I'd have to agree with this. I mean, just look at some of the stealth build compilation. And then this magic one. To say the combat isn't fun or isn't in depth enough wouldn't be fair. I never thought that bit of magic was even possible in the game to do until I saw that video, because I just never looked. And maybe that's part of why many people, or maybe some people, don't think that other magic trees are, you know, that useful. Anyway, the magic is cool. And the Stealth Archer build is just a huge meme within the game. I mean, yeah, we've all been there. You're trying to create a new build, you're trying to do something new, but you keep finding your way back to the Stealth Archer. Yeah, we don't know how, it just happens. I guess that both supports and criticizes the game then. To say the combat relies heavily on the stealth parts of the game, considering the amount of bonus damage you can do, and that the head-on combat is just a bit neglected. People will try to compare melee combat to the Soul-like games. You know, Dark Souls, and maybe there's other games as well, there probably is, with a lot more in-depth combat. I do see that criticism, but again, I disagree. Yeah, okay, Skyrim's combat overall isn't well developed as other games. I think that's fair to say. But I don't think it's bad. I do get an odd satisfaction for having to swing my sword 1,000 times to kill an enemy. I'll get onto why that is. Please don't take that out of context, though. And a large part of that credit goes down to the enchantments and rare weapons in the game. I mean, POV of everyone when we get a rare weapon, right?
Woo! Yeah, baby!
And things that make bog standard combat, if you wanted to describe it as that, I mean, it's so much more exciting because you're wielding the rarest weapon in the game, or any rare weapon, or something that took you time to get in game, or something with a cool enchantment. And let's talk about the shouts in the game for a quick moment. I mean, and what other game could you do this? Shout people into the air, off mountains and everything. It's so unique, it's so cool, so fun. So you can see why I say that the things in the combat system that make the game standard or average or underwhelming, whatever you want to say, that also just makes the game perfect or just fun. Only in Skyrim could you get this. Only from a development company like Bethesda could you get this. Typical Bethesda. So just a reminder that a lot of the video footage in this video is taken from other creators. So I just wanted to give credit to them since I'm using their content to make my own. So links to their channel and original videos will be in the description. Thanks once again to the amazing community for bringing such entertainment. There's so much out there and keep Skyrim going, which is what I love. Right, back to the video. And then there's glitches and bugs. So I don't actually know how it was way back then. I mean, I didn't play the game when it came out in 2011, but I did play the game quite a few years ago. And there's probably some that still remain. And I think I actually remember experiencing quite a few. And this was part of the criticism of the game, which makes sense. Usually in other games, glitches and bugs are a problem. But honestly, I love the bugs and glitches, and I'm pretty sure a lot of others do too. They're not actually ruin the experience of the game. At least I haven't felt that way. And it's a funny compilation of some. It's part of the Skyrim experience. And like I've been saying, if it was any other game, it'd be a different story. But with Skyrim, it's different. Something about a dragon having a heart attack after its death is just so funny to me. If my game crashed because of it, honestly, I don't think I'd be mad. Yeah, bugs, glitches usually aren't a good thing, and those criticisms go down to the developers of the game. But it isn't a problem in Skyrim, and the game is so playable. Right, the story. Right, when we get into this, I'm going to partly agree with the criticism of the story and the lack of role-play in the game and choices, especially in the main quests. It feels too short, and certain characters just aren't that in-depth. I understand that criticism, and I get that side quests probably carry the game, but that makes sense because there's more of them. People have compared it to games like The Witcher, where the main quest is often long, well-written, and full of interesting characters. It does feel like, in Skyrim, more could have been done in the main story, and the characters that surrounded it. But I cancel all that with, dragons are cool. I rest my case. Okay, but that's enough for me in a game like Skyrim, where I'm more immersed into the side quests anyway, especially the Daedric ones, where I feel like there's a lot of good writing in there, creativity and cool characters, whereas might only give you one choice or the other, still feel fulfilling and enjoyable when you do them. And maybe people will counter me by saying, well, you know, it's either yes or no, but you can put more choices in there. And whilst I can't think of examples off the top of my head, I know there are many examples of really good choice involvement in games. If it was any other game, the underwhelming main story would be enough to cut people off from playing the game, perhaps thinking it's not worth their time. And a lot of people do play games just for the main story. But many people didn't care, and they still don't, and they still enjoy the game. I do feel the main quest was underdeveloped, and parts of the characters as well, and lack of choices were disappointing. But the fact that I keep returning to the game means something. It's just the whole experience. whatever it is, it's good and addictive. I mean, I wonder what drug Todd put in this game to keep us hooked. It's the Bethesda effect, I guess. Anyway, if you want an example of a couple of well-written or fun characters, let me give you Cicero. I mean, no more needs to be said about Cicero. He's just special. Absolute great fun. When I first encountered him, I was just like, who the hell is this guy? And a lot of his character just incorporates Skyrim as a whole. Wacky and interesting. And then there's Ulfric. Okay, he's one of the main guys, and I know I said earlier some of the main characters lacked depth. And well, it's kind of true and kind of not. Ulfric is so interesting, and often I feel like I don't understand his arc of story. Yeah, I get his cause, but it feels like there should have been more added to him. And then there's Badanac. I mean, the Forsworn conspiracy is super fun, and his mysterious character is super interesting. I just wish it was longer. You know, you still see all these Forsworn camps after that happens, and, well, there's a funny thing is that you actually get a quest later on for the Jarl, if you haven't done it already, where you can actually end up going to the camp where they are, and you end up killing them all, but there's no reaction to it, and that's the problem. They might give you something good, but they don't continue that, and they don't finish that off. I'd be here forever if I mentioned every single one. And I know it's only 3 examples that I mentioned, but you get the idea. I mean, most of you have probably played the game. Factions. Well, if only they were longer as well. Dark Brotherhood is a really cool questline, and how you become an assassin that can assassinate the Emperor. I mean, how many times have you started a playthrough and killed Grelod the Kind? Yeah, it's Grelod, and then, well, you can think of a better word for it, right? But the criticism lies within the great part of the game. I mean, where is the huge reaction to the Emperor dying? And yeah, that's a spoiler for anyone who hasn't, but I am not going to take any heat for that. The game came out years ago. It just felt like the whole of Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls world, just like woke up, read the newspaper, and said, oh, the Emperor died. Oh well, we'll just find another. And you might hear a god say something, but that's it. Sometimes some of these quests are just unfinished, and no one likes an unfinished story. The Thieves Guild, I feel like there are so many more cool ways to make this questline vast and more interesting. I love stealing in-game. Yeah, I'm one of those guys. Maybe that's because you can't steal in real life. So, that was perfect for me. And the Mercer Frey arc was decent. I enjoyed it. I mean, for anyone who's played the Thief games, I'm a massive Thief fan. And, well, if you know, the voice actor is the same guy that voiced Mercer Frey and some of the other guys in Skyrim, and you could see that connection. I mean, just imagine all the cool highs you can make in this game. Like, there is just so many cool things you could do. When it comes to that taking the Falmer Eye, it's Mercer Frey who does it, and you're just hunting him down to kill him, pretty much. It was a Nightingale thing, not a Thief thing. And just imagine stealing stuff from the Jarls around the world, or Greybeards, or something of importance that the world could react to in-game. So this is what I mean when I say parts of the quest and story is undeveloped, and not long enough. So much more could be done. And that doesn't just say the game is bad, or just criticize the game. The fact that there was so much potential, and it's still so good, shows. It could be even better. Anyway, the College of Winterhold, look, I like this. Often, I don't play magic builds, so this impacts whatever I'm trying to do in the game, but it's short and fun. Becoming the Archmage is cool, but then what? Oh, I'm just a leader and nothing else challenges me? There should be more to this. How does the player deal with the new responsibility? This is what Skyrim lacks. But the quest is still fun, it's just, it could be so much more, and that's frustrating for someone who really, really loves the game. Right, the companions. Look, Ayla is really cool. I mean, just think about the amount of cosplays, the amount of times people have had her as a companion. We all like Ayla. And the werewolf thing is cool. But this supposedly glorious faction you've first seen fighting a giant is now some sort of secretive werewolf cult. Okay, I get not all of them are, and it's just the inner circle. But where is the glorious battles to protect your city or your people? All you do in those quests is fight a bunch of people who hate werewolves. And yeah, there's the glory of getting Kodlak's axe and putting him back, you know, into his proper soul, but I don't know, man. I feel like the companion should have been something else. I mean, I really like Kodlak. He's a good character and a leader. I feel like he has all the good leadership qualities to be a faction leader compared to some of the others. But this faction questline was disappointing for me. So I understand the criticism, if I can get my bloody words out, of this. But I do have to say, waking up and becoming a werewolf, going on a frenzy, is pretty fun. I just wish there was more to it. Anyway, the Civil War. Right, or it needed more as well. This is like the second main questline of the main questline. You obviously have the one with Alduin. This is the Civil War. These are the ones, these are the main quests, right? The Imperials versus the Stormcloaks. So this had so much potential. Do you choose the Stormcloaks because you believe in their cause? Or because the Imperials are a puppet of the Falmer? Or because you were going to get your head chopped off? I mean, I usually do join for that reason. I generally hated the Imperials. I mean, I wasn't on the list. I wasn't on the list. Or do you join the Imperials because you don't believe in the Stormcloak cause, and because you believe keeping the Imperials in power would give a chance to defeat the Falmer? And Falmer are kind of like the hidden main antagonist, really. Considering that Skyrim is kind of split into its loyalty over the Empire and to the Stormcloaks, with each other calling each other's traitors. And obviously there's the Talos worship thing in between. But I feel like that's just something to be used for the grander scheme, which is Falmer and their influence on Skyrim. I do feel like both factions just offer little when it comes to convince me to join either side. Okay, yeah, I get what both their causes are, kinda. They don't really try and do anything. I prefer Ulfric as an interesting character over Tullius. He's just more boring, and I get it, he's more of the typical general guy. Ulfric has a lot more in depth in his character, and I feel like the Imperials needed someone who led, who just had more charisma and just more influence. Like, Tullius is just, yeah, Tullius is there. He has power and a bit of a cool armor plate, and that can be enough for many people. It wasn't enough for me. But I believe the Empire, in my personal opinion, had a better chance of getting rid of the Falmer, because, you know, they had more power than the Stormcloaks to begin with. But they still didn't manage to convince me, and I don't think they managed to convince other people as well. Why is there only a choice to join one or the other? I know it's a civil war, but there should be more choices. You are the Dragonborn after all. Why can't you make peace between them both? Or refuse to help? And then an in-game event happens, rather than a quest just laying there annoying you as you're trying to complete the game. Feel like you haven't finished something when you actually have. Your decision was to not join them both because you believed they, you know, you just didn't believe in them. But the game doesn't see that, and the game didn't implement that. Why can't you join both the factions together and then go on all-out war against the Falmer? In fact, why can't you join the Falmer and corrupting and destroying both factions to rule Skyrim? After all, you can play as an elf in the game. There should be a lot more RP to this. There's so much more that could have been done here. And then the battles. There just isn't enough in my opinion. It should feel like a conquest, like a war. Rather than a few skirmishes and then, oh, okay, yeah, there's a pretty cool battle at Solitude or Winterhold, but this is how it should be done. It should be marching to every enemy hold. It should be every little bit of land should be fought over. It should feel like a gruesome war. It should get that into your mind as a player. Try and inflict that emotion. I mean, just imagine the bigger battles. Your mind does run wild when you realise this quest could have been so much better. But, anyway. I still kind of enjoy it. And, well, killing Ulfric or Tullius at the end, depending on who you choose, is still fun. I just wish there was more, like I keep saying. To go back to the main quest though, the one with Alduin the Wood Eater, it isn't bad. I mean, sure, we all help Delphine. And we really wish we could kill her. We do really wish. But the Blades seemed like a cool faction. I mean, you know, there's a bunch of lore behind them, but it's just her. And I get, right, the lore is they kind of all got wiped out. I just feel like there was something more with the Blades, you know. Delphine doesn't feel like a leader. And part of that's just fun. Really fun. seeing the Greybeards, yeah, kind of cool. And killing Alduin while on Stormgard is cool as well. And not to mention riding a dragon was also cool, as I keep saying. But why do I feel like the story just wasn't that fulfilling? I mean, wouldn't an antagonist alongside Alduin be cool as well? Okay, yeah, there is Mirak, but he's kind of his own separate antagonist. And maybe someone wants the destruction of the world, along with Alduin. Yeah, okay, that concept's been done before, but I'm just trying to figure out what this main quest lacked, because it did feel like it lacked something. I believe I'm right in that. Just can't quite figure it out with that one. Also, why are the people not afraid at all? Okay, there's Gerda at the beginning, and Rayloff or, Hadvar, whoever you choose, but they're more worried about the Civil War. And then there's some guards, but they're just bringing it up. I mean, who else actually cares? It feels like whatever you do in Skyrim doesn't impact Skyrim as a whole too much. If I'm assassinating people, why aren't there investigations? Okay, you gotta counter me and say, oh, Penitus Oculactus. Okay, but then what? What, does it just end there? If a murderer kills the people that are after him, there's always going to be more people that are after him. And I should feel like, because I've joined that faction, I feel like there should be consequences to that. Okay, I get the benefits of becoming a powerful assassin and all the tricks that come with that, but I'm going to be hunted for the rest of the game, and there should be a lot more consequences to that. If I'm a master stealer, if I'm head of the Thieves Guild, people are going to know who I am probably. Why isn't there some ambition to destroy me? Yes, the guild is corrupt, and you'll counter me with Maven Blackbriar and the amount of influence she has. But not every powerful person should want that in Skyrim. Okay, yeah, money is usually always the big influence. But there are high, if I can get my words right again, high powerful people that have good morals or different morals. I mean, I just feel like there should be more to that in terms of the consequences again. And if I'm an Archmage, why don't people recognize me as such? I mean, I'm the bloody Archmage of the College of Winterhold, and I get the people in Skyrim just don't respect magic at all. But that doesn't mean they don't know who I am, they just don't respect me, and they don't like me. But they should know who I am. Where are my responsibilities? I feel like there should always be a follow-up main part of a quest to another main part of a quest that already happened. There has to be something else. If I'm the leader of the companions, is there anything else to do other than doing repetitive quests like I'm some lackey? I'm a bloody leader. I'm supposed to be ordering other people around. How many people actually do the repetitive quests anyway? You know, the ones where they never end? Yeah, I don't think many do. It feels like I'm going on hard on Skyrim here, and you're probably gonna hate me for that, and I kind of am. But this well, it's not really hate. This criticism comes from a love of the game. I absolutely love this game. It's one of my favorite games ever that I've ever played, and I truly mean that. I enjoy all its factions in one way or another, and so do many other people, and it's part of why the game is so popular. But you see what I mean here? The side quests are brilliant. I mean, there could be more choice involved, but honestly, I really do love the side quests. Forsworn is fun. The Daedric ones are really fun. Dawnguard as well, I really like that. Vampire stuff in the game, I really enjoy. I mean, okay, it's a bit of a pain in the you-know-what when it comes to trying to get rid of vampirism when you don't want it, but there's a lot to enjoy in Skyrim, which is good. Harkon is a really good character, and he's an example of someone who's well written. You can feel his presence when you're in Castle Volokor. Serana as well. She's a fan favorite companion. Everyone likes her. You love her story. It's a great companion to have. And you know what? That's one of the examples where there's a lot of choice involved with her. Your choices actually impact her life because you can influence her becoming a human or staying as a vampire. And well, she's only topped by one other legendary companion, Lydia. Just like how a dog is a man's best friend, Lydia is a person's best companion, to put it that way. And the Daedric quests. Well, all I have to do is give you an example of this. Sheergra. I mean, I love that quest. It's just so funny. The old guy coming at you. You don't know what to expect. And you're just in this guy's mind, and it's so wacky. And at the end, you get a wabberjack, and the stuff you can do with those weapons. It's so creative. And these are the parts of the game that are amazing, and they conflict with the parts that are a bit dull or just a bit underdeveloped. Because I don't think anything in this game is boring. I just think there are a lot of parts that lack stuff. And I think we all understand that. At least, that's my opinion. But this is why Skyrim is so fun. The wackiness. I really do love it. So yeah, there's parts of the story that lack development, depth, and perhaps unfinished. But at the same time, you still do enjoy it. And there are great characters, and there are good mini storylines that are fulfilling. So the mods. Right, there have been apparently this many mods created. I mean, that is just insane. Like, I've just never seen anything like that. This is the most of any other game made. And critics would use this to say, well, Skyrim is carried by its modders. And mods have been around for a while, by the way. You know, they say mods offer a more in-depth Skyrim experience. And I agree. I do believe a big part of why people still play this game is because of the mods, who give something new. And I love the mods. I haven't played most of any mods really, and I'd love to. And I probably will, because this game will just keep pulling me back. So yeah, I am addicted to vanilla, but all I have to say is, without the base game and the beauty that is Skyrim, you couldn't have this amazing mod community. And to be honest, it's not just mods that keep the game alive. I do genuinely believe that, and I keep using this word, the wackiness and the imperfection of the vanilla version of the game, just all the concepts, they bring players back. And I mean, they say many are still stuck in character creation. Right, I'm one of them. Every time I see a meme like that, I always feel called out. And that's where I go back to the RP of the game. The fact that many players can't decide whether they want to play. If they want to play as an orc, a Nord, a wood elf, a high elf, a dark elf, a Breton, an Argonian, a Khajiit, a Redguard, an Imperial. Gosh, I really hope I haven't missed any there, otherwise my entire life would be in scrutiny. Then there's builds to go along with every type of race in the game, so there is a lot you can do there. And how could I forget? Do you want to be a vampire, or a werewolf, or any other thing that's available? So yeah, Skyrim does lack depth, but it also has depth, and it's really weird. And even as I'm talking about this, I'm still struggling to understand how brilliant the game is and how it's so popular, the aura that it has. So there are memes and cosplays in many games, but I swear Skyrim tops them all. The community is vast, and you can see with everyone has something they love about the game. You know, one person could hate the story and maybe hate the combat, but maybe they love the graphics of the game and some of the character art, and that's what inspires them. And honestly, all that stuff makes the game brilliant. I love that about the game, and honestly, helps the game remain relevant, and everyone can respect that. So, I'll repeat what I said at the beginning of the video. Everything that makes the game average and questionable also makes the game brilliant. The gameplay is criticized, yet many, including me, still enjoy it. The stories and RP are questioned and criticized, but we still enjoy it. Yet, you simplify it, and you could say there's good parts and bad parts to every game. But it's clear to say that the good parts of Skyrim are higher than many other games out there, which is why it's one of the best games ever made. And it's clear to also say that the bad parts of the game are still loved. So are they bad parts? Well, that's up for you to decide. Anyway, Skyrim delivers everything. It's got the mods, it's got the videos that have been made by countless people, memes keep it relevant, and there's so much more. Skyrim is truly timeless, Right. So, just credit to the people. I've used some of their video footage in this video. Leopold Stotch 711, Wicked Wind, The Egg Will Die, and Tuki Mayhem. I'll leave their channel links and original videos in the description below. Give me your thoughts in the comments. This was my opinion, and sometimes when I have to put some criticism in it, and honestly, I'm not an expert analyzer. I'm really not. I'm just trying to share a bit of my analysis, a bit of my opinion, a bit of my take. And what that is Skyrim. It's so hard to tackle. So I hope you just enjoyed this ramble. And there was probably a lot for you to agree with and a lot to disagree with. I'd love to hear everyone's opinions because I love this game, and just being able to relate to other people is one of the best parts of just games in general. So yeah, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. I'm going to be making more videos like this regularly. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and how can I forget? Bloody courier, he just keeps finding me. He won't leave me alone. Right, see ya.
Leave me alone! Ah!